How can a cybersecurity solutions company increase its brand awareness? I think the most important place to start is that your brand and how you plan your brand positioning is so different today than it was as recently as 5 or 10 years ago. Today, your brand is anything and everything that your ideal prospects and ideal clients say about your company when you're not in the room. And given that we're now living in a world where you really don't get to be in the room for much of the buyer's journey, much of the sales cycle anymore, it's incumbent that we have a very different way of going to market and a very different brand strategy today than we would have as recently as 10 years ago. What does all this mean? Well, let's talk about some stats. Today, 83% of a typical buyer's journey, researching, comparing options, and evaluating pricing, is now over before prospects want to talk with someone from your sales team. 83%, meaning that people are so into self-guided research now, asking questions of their peers on social media, watching podcasts and webinars and live streams, reading blogs, attending conferences, looking at review websites. There's so much that people are doing before they're finally ready to talk with someone from your sales team that you hardly have any surface area anymore relative to what it used to be. Because as recently as 10 years ago, that number from Gartner, 83% of the journey being over before vendor contact, that number hovered around 50%. More specifically, 56% was the number that CEB, the corporate executive board that's now owned by Gartner, originally uncovered in the mid-2010s when they did this research with Sirius Decisions and Salesforce. So it used to be that your sales team spent about half of the sales cycle, half of the buyer's journey with prospects. Now people don't want to talk with salespeople anymore very much. They become much more sales allergic. So with that in mind, when it comes to brand awareness for cybersecurity solutions, we have to operate realistically in the world that we actually live in, not the world that we'd like to live in. We're not going to go back to the future with the flux capacitor and the DeLorean to a time of 10 years ago. We actually have to operate in today's marketplace and be planning for what's going to happen in the near future as well. So in today's marketplace, it's incredibly important that your sales team, your business development, sales development reps, your account executives, anyone that's involved with working with clients and potential clients for your cybersecurity solutions, they can't show up as a sales professional anymore. Because if they do, they're going to be persona non grata for 83% of that process. So we need a way for your sales team to now show up as consultants, as teachers, as subject matter experts, as trusted advisors. And the most seasoned people on your team in that role, that have the most experience in and around the intersection of cybersecurity and the data center industry, they're more than likely thought leaders. So we need to think about what we're going to do to reposition your customer-facing team to show up in a way that's actually welcomed by your most important buyer personas. So this is a massive repositioning need, but it's incredibly important if you want to stay relevant to the way that people now research and make their purchase decisions. In a typical buyer's journey, most analysts have found about 28 touch points happen between complete stranger and purchase decision. The problem is, by default, most companies in and around the data center industry invest very aggressively in field marketing and events. They spend a huge percentage of their overall sales marketing go-to-market budget on a couple of big events a year, maybe a handful or two of big events. The problem with that approach is no matter how epic your booth is on the trade show floor, no matter how amazing the golf tournament is, no matter how incredible the cabana party is poolside or beachside, each of those only counts for one touch point. So unless you have the ability to execute at scale 25 to 30 of those a year, exactly with precision, laser guided precision directly to your most important buyer personas, we need a way to have a balanced approach so we can stay with these folks throughout their full buyer's journey, so we can help them frame the criteria that they use to evaluate all of the other cybersecurity solutions that are in front of them throughout awareness when they know they have a goal they're trying to figure out, or a big nagging challenge, or something that's stressing them out that they need to figure out. As they progress into consideration, where they start to evaluate all of the different solutions categories that are in front of them. And as they transform into the decision stage of the journey, where they're usually finally ready to talk with someone from your sales team. So we need a way to stay with them. So we ensure that our company remains on the short list. And if we stack the decks in our favor exceptionally well, we may find that we do such a good job that we dominate the short list to the point that we've used this education, we've used these events, we've used this subject matter expertise and these amazing resources to really help neutralize a lot of the competitive forces that are out there. So when it comes to a cybersecurity solutions company, increasing brand awareness, we need to meet our prospects where they are, not where we'd like them to be, but where they actually are today. So we need to be exceptionally self-aware of where we win consistently. So case studies on your website will probably allow you to back into having an ideal client profile, an ICP. From that ideal client profile, you'll build out a target account list of a couple dozen, a couple hundred, a couple thousand companies that look like they're a great fit for your cybersecurity solutions in and around the data center industry. And then once you have a defined list of companies that you want to attract and build brand awareness with, we need to understand who are the people within those accounts that we need to build relationships with, the primary buyer persona, the secondary buyer persona, and what do we do to be the most amazing experts, resources on the planet when it comes to the intersection of cybersecurity and the data center industry. That's how a cybersecurity solutions company can increase its brand awareness in today's marketplace.